and everything dropped out from underneath us. But we're back. So we're going to continue on, have a little bit more fun, take a few more minutes together. Usually we're off by 5, so we'll drop off by 5:20. If you're just catching us, welcome on. Icky Timing, Tea Time Tuesday with Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, PhD in Spanish, something or rather. We're playing A Friend from the Past right now. So I'm going to see if this person's still on the line because we literally dropped out into the black hole for a good 5-10 minutes there. If you're catching on, jump back on and ask some questions and let's see what we can do. All right, here we go.
Hope this doesn't end up like the pyramid.
That's what happens when you talk bad about my girl Ellen, man.
I'm sorry,
you messed up big. Okay, here we go.
White Estate was click.
All right, let's see if our partner in crime is still there. Let's see, they're ringing. All right. Well, while they're doing that, Eva Michelle Wheeler, can you tell us were you feeling any kind of anxiety, fear, or stress when you considered changing over your careers to something completely different, which means you had to have started over as well as start from zero, like no money? Or did you feel convicted enough by God that this was something he was just calling you into, that you were going to walk forward and it was like smooth sailing?
So when I had the idea, I was super excited about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave this place. I'm going to do something I'm passionate about.
Right.
And the initial idea, it was like the euphoria of it, right?
Yeah.
So when I came up to having to, tell my friends and family, thinking about writing my actual resignation letter from my job, I backpedaled and had second and third and fourth thoughts about it.
Right.
Because aside from the financial piece, that I don't even think I was thinking about that as much as the idea of the prestige piece. Because, I was like, I'm a lawyer. That impresses people.
Yeah, it does, actually.
And even though I would still have my license, I felt like there would be a change. I wouldn't say I was a lawyer. I would say I'm a graduate student. And that just didn't seem like, an even exchange. And so it took me, I would say from the time that I got the idea to the time that I actually left, it was about a year. So yeah, it wasn't overnight.
Right. Okay. Cool. I just asked that because there might be some people thinking about or considering changing, moving through their path, maybe looking at a different thing or so. I know one of our friends that was on earlier, Casey Hohensee, is a chaplain at Millennium University, and he was doing one thing, and then that's where he's at now, and it's just amazing to see all the individuals who are kind of stepping out in faith. It wasn't exactly what you had planned in life, but God ordered these steps, and now you're doing something you're more passionate about and you're actually kind of happy about. So
yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so your friend and my friend and our friend is on.
Oh, okay. I was like, should I take off my mask?
No, keep that mask on, homie. Keep that mask on.
Okay.
Okay. My friend, what is up? For those of you who all were able to check back in and see it, my friend here is on with us, Eva Michelle Wheeler. We're going to give you a couple hints here. So if you could, my friend, share a couple things with Eva Michelle. Let's see if she can figure out who it is. Who it is?
I'm actually here to help fact check her on her time in New York. She forgot a pivotal part in her story. So
preach it. What is it, man? Come on.
She actually went to my church, and she was trying to take over.
Starting a coup,
she was starting a coup. She was hating on her brother. I didn't know what this was about.
Eva Michelle Wheeler, do you know who that is?
couple of guesses. This sounds like somebody that has a weak jump shot. Who is the lesser light? We might say has less shine.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
This sounds like somebody who was salty that they got replaced as the most venerated and tallest person at church, and that's a personal problem.
I'm here to fact check.
Fact check.
Alternative facts over here.
Give us a name, Eva Michelle Wheeler. Who is it?
This sounds like Derek Cruz.
Yeah. Go, Coach.
Of course.
Formerly the most popular person at Delancey Seventh Day Adventist Church.
No, don't go there.
Bye.
Don't go there. I had to restore the place. What's up?
Oh.
At first I was like, what's this voice? I don't know this person.
I don't recognize this voice.
No, me neither. I scared myself.
First of all, I just want to make a couple things clear. Who is this?
It's my alter ego.
Now I see what's going on.
Welcome on. If you're catching back up with us, this is our guy, Derek Cruz. He is currently the dean at the La Sierra University.
Associate dean, yes, sir.
Associate dean for the men's dorm. Formerly the great associate pastor for Gardena Genesis Community Church.
That's right.
So then
until Icky kicked me out.
Until I kicked, don't make me the bad guy here.
Payback. This is what I understand. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I went out there to fix it up, because he was doing too much there. So Icky called me up and he's like, "Hey."
For a second, Icky thinks something just enough.
Now, Derek is phenomenal at loving people, has got a real flair for community service, community work, social justice issues, has done a phenomenal job for about 5 years. Derek was about 5 years with us over there in Gardena.
It's about, five amazing years.
Yep, transitioned and was doing some stuff up in the Glendale area for Vallejo, and then about a year and a half or so ago, accepted a call or an invitation after an interview to come back to his alma mater, La Sierra University, and be the men's dean, associate dean there, where he takes care of a dorm full of how many young people there, man?
Yeah, it could be up to a little bit over 200 guys that we take care of. And there's moments if I'm on duty over the weekend or for a particular event, it could be for all the dorms. So
that's a lot of testosterone and hormones.
It's a lot of work.
Ooh, I do not want to be you.
Why not? I knew she was gonna say something. I knew she. I don't know why this was your idea, Icky. It's not working so far.
So we're gonna do a little love one, leave one. Time, okay. Love one, leave one. I'm gonna put a minute and a half up on the dial. Now, because everything shut down, I actually lost my love one, leave one option. So I'm just gonna make them up on the fly as we go, and then you're just gonna have to kind of choose through it. Okay. Okay. Let me put the timer up, and then let's play. Let's play. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. LA or New York? Love one, leave one.
Love. I'm gonna get kicked out of California. I love New York. I can't get it out my system. Love New York.
I'm gonna say love California.
All right. Okay. Love Cuba. Love Spain.
Love Spain. Shout out to Cuba. It's hard to live there. That's all I'm saying.
What about you, Derek?
Cuba, Spain. I haven't been. Okay, I'm from the Caribbean, so I haven't been to Cuba, but I love Cuba. I'm gonna leave Spain behind just for historical reasons.
This next one's gonna mess you up, man. Love Polynesia, love the Caribbean. Love one, leave one. You gotta love one, leave one.
I'm gonna let you handle that. I'm not trying to get hurt out here. I'm in California.
You better give the right answer, son.
Jumped after church.
Caribbean or Polynesia?
Pass.
You guys are weak sauce right now.
If
love
you
one, leave
love
one.
us, just pass. This is the only time you're gonna see me and her agree on something.
Sister Act 1, Sister Act 2.
2.
Ooh. Smokey Robinson or Michael Strahan?
It's a very close tie.
Oh, we ran out of time, my friends. We ran out of
Michael
time.
Strahan. Come on.
Smokey Robinson.
Michelle's got kind of like this weird crush on Smokey Robinson, he's like 112. Look, the man does good music. But...
Not a crush. It's a deep love.
Yeah, it's called stalking.
I mean, he got this cool glow on him. I mean,
yeah,
he's a cool brother at 112.
37, and I went to a concert one time, and he touched my hand. That's the way it's written. When you touch your hand and you're linked forever.
Is that like when like that lady touched the garment of Jesus and was like healed and like, whoo.
And my life was never the same.
I'm sorry.
We have to deal with in New York.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Derek. I'm so sorry for what you had to go through.
Still recovering.
Smokey in New York.
Let me ask this. So for both of you, I want you to consider this in your current place of work, how you're dealing with this. But what are some ways that your faith convictions has found breath in your everyday local space where you work, what you're doing, the decisions you make? How has your faith convictions found breath or tangible external exercise?
Yeah. It's really interesting. I didn't know what to say at first.
Wow.
One of the first things
first, isn't it?
that comes to my mind is it really, really underscored the importance of the Sabbath for me, not just for my spiritual well-being, but for my physical well-being. And so when I was working as a lawyer, now that I'm working as a professor, I appreciate and love and understand why God made the Sabbath for us so that we could have those moments to step back. And then, so now I've been working at Oakwood. It's an Adventist university for the past 3 years. And before that, I'd been in all public and other private but secular universities. And it's been an interesting learning experience where I'll have students who ask me to pray for them, right? And students who are, looking to connect with me on a deeper level than I had when I was at the other institutions. And I was actually kind of uncomfortable with it at the beginning because I was used to compartmentalizing my work and my faith in a more rigid way.
Yeah.
And so Oakwood has actually been a learning experience for me in how to be much more open about faith and to those expressions of faith that I was in my other jobs.
Wow, that's good. That's good. What about you, D?
As for me, I've been in the bubble for a while where work and my faith, right? There's this intersection there. Mm-hmm. And I always, the part of the gospel that I really connect to is when Jesus first mentions the word gospel, when he does his first sermon and he says, look, I came here to help the poor, the oppressed, and those who are marginalized. So I think with every single job that I've accepted, I've always had to ask the question, if there is suffering here, right? If there is bad news here, how can I help alongside Jesus Christ to provide good news? Right. So I'm in the university context, which is different from the church context. And, you know, the students, even though they're young, and sometimes you may look at them and say, hey, they're carefree, they're also dealing with a lot of issues, and there's a lot of bad news that they're experiencing in their life. So I try my best to kind of ask the question, where is Jesus in all of this? And do I have the courage to meet a Christ there? So.
Right. Wow, that's good. Because in every context, we have the opportunity to do that. Isn't that true? Whether you find yourself in the hub of a bunch of believers, or whether you find yourself working in the inner city, there's always space for us to do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So one, by the expression of Sabbath, an experience of that from Eva Michelle Wheeler's, and from Derek, the bringing of that Sabbath or that rest to those who are burdened and weary around us. That's good. Okay, cool. Well, very nice. Eva Michelle Wheeler. Derek, I don't know if you know this, but Eva Michelle Wheeler, as of recently, went on a online date.
I was like, hey, you the police. How'd you find out about this?
This is a thing, people. Online date.
On Zoom.
On Zoom.
Not just for meetings anymore.
Apparently, they're for full-on Zoom dates. Zoomate, if you will. No,
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure if I want to hear this story right now.
Yeah. But here's the best part about it. This is what I love about Eva Michelle Wheeler. Eva Michelle Wheeler only dressed from like the top up because she was too lazy to put on the clothes all the way down. So she's like Fifth Avenue from here up, and then Walmart from here down. Not that there's a problem with that, but that's how you gotta roll sometimes, right? Hey. Even tell us about this online dating. People want to know. People are curious. Like, hey, like, is this a possible thing?
So did he like send you Grubhub or something? Or like what?
Ideally, I didn't want to seem like a gold digger and be like, cash at me $20 so I can get my dinner. Right. But I didn't want to do Grubhub because then he'd have to know my address, and it was a first date, and I didn't want him to know my address.
Nice.
So I actually had to cook.
Little hack. That's a little tip for all you out there. Not on the first date.
That, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I'll Uber Eats you something. Make sure that they're not getting your address on a first date from a dating app. Right. That's danger. Stranger danger. All right. And, I had on bottoms, like I wasn't bottomless.
No, I didn't say that.
I was wearing Nike slides instead of high heels, but with a dress.
Nice.
So I was like, he's not going to see my feet. Why do I need to be wearing heels? He's not going to see my feet. But yeah, it was a guy that I met on a dating app. And I said, you know, usually at this point in the conversation, we would meet in person on a date. But because of, you know, social distancing, that's not responsible right now. And so I said, you know, hey, let's do a date on Zoom. And he's like, I've never done that before. And I was like, well, neither have I, but first time for everything. And at the beginning, it was a little awkward just to, you know, navigate like the chewing and having your face on camera and all this stuff. But eventually, like by the end of it, you know, it was just kind of like having a normal conversation on a first date. So, you know, if this is something if you're going crazy in your house and you're like, man, I don't know when I'm ever going to get free again, like, you know, little Zoom date, little Zate, but yeah, don't give your address out on the first date.
That's smart. That's a good little hack there.
I know. I got a question though. So on his side in the video, like, did he have a table with like a candle lit on it, or what?
So he was.
Did he use paper plates and plastic? Did he bring out the china? What was?
I couldn't see like camera. Like I was like, sir, ambiance. He did have music playing. He was like, I hope that doesn't bother you. I just wanted to set the atmosphere, you know. And I like all of my plate and everything was on the table out of view. But at the beginning, we did like a show and tell. So I was like, okay, show me what you're eating and tell me about it. And then I did the same thing. So I think he had real plates, but he was wearing like a polo shirt and I was wearing a dress. And I was like, I think we missed each other.
because I put a lot of work into this.
I feel like we should start the coronavirus dating challenge where when we first can come out, like you should dress nicely and the top and the bottom half should be like sweats or like shorts and stuff.
Board shorts.
I think that would be like the new fad. It would be fresh. Everybody should do that. Prep up for a great first date.
Slides. Yeah. Right now, I actually have on Tigger slippers.
I was gonna ask. So, do we all meet this way? Are we all like top formal, bottom party? How is it working, Derek? Are you wearing full on gear?
I got jeans on, but I got some Adidas. I got some Adidas slippers on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Adidas though.
Adidas. Yeah.
Come on,
I mean, you rocking an Adidas jersey. What are you talking about?
Dirty John. You can't talk much.
Listen, this
Wrong
was the
side.
only
Other side. Other side.
Adidas son. I can't ask Columbia to change their national sports sponsor.
Right. So I did bring that up for a reason, Eva Michelle Wheeler. Eva Michelle.
The whole government.
I wanted to ask that because I feel that it's true for many young, successful women to find it difficult to date and perhaps find a good mate in life. And so it's not just branded towards one particular individual, right? Like someone might be sitting home like, man, nobody wants to be with me. When in actuality, it's a struggle for all young ladies out there, especially if you're successful and doing your thing. It's a challenge, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would say what I found as a 30-something, versus a 20-something was that I just had to be more intentional about forming connections. Because think about, when you're in college, you got a whole campus full of options. You guys can go to chapel together, sit together in the cafeteria. You're like, oh, you're going to Vespers? I'll go too. And it's kind of like organic connections form. You have classes together and all this.
Right.
And so that's why, that's my theory about why so many people find like a match, someone that they really like when they're in college or in that younger phase. But as you get older and you're not moving in the same social spheres, like it definitely becomes more of a challenge. I remember my mom told me when I graduated from law school, she said, she was like, congratulations, you graduated from law school. Also, Black women who have a doctoral degree are more likely to be the victim of a terrorist attack than to find a suitable life partner. And I was just like, this is the weirdest Hallmark card I have ever received.
What is that?
This information. And then so, I finished law school. I already had one. So I was like, when I was thinking about getting the second doctor, like it wasn't even a consideration. I was like, let it ride. I'm not going to.
What's the stat for 2 doctorates?
Two doctors. Oh. Let me tell you, it's not looking good. But I don't know. Like on one hand, you'll see statistics and people will tell you this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're the one that's in control of your situation, right? And so if you're finding that you're not meeting people in organic ways as a part of your routine, like when I go to work, I go into my office. After work, I go to the gym with my headphones in. Then I go home. And I go to church, but leave right after potluck. And so, there's not a lot of crossing paths. And I don't enjoy stranger danger. So I usually ignore you if you reach out to me in a public space. So that meant that I had to be intentional, right? Like I can't just be like, I'm not going to talk to any strangers and I'm going to be alone all the time. And I'm going to ask God to send someone to knock on my door, which I won't answer because I don't answer the door. So I started using, I started trying dating apps, right? And so I was like, okay, let me try this out. The first run was not great because I did my search with all my all the different characteristics, and it was 0 results. And I was like,
because Michael Strahan is not on there, Eva Michelle Wheeler. That's why
right.
He's not going to answer you.
And why a Seventh-day Adventist rocket scientist who used to play in the NBA is, 6'5" and above, vegetarian, has no kids, hasn't been married, hasn't been in jail, and is gainfully employed is so hard to find.
Right. Your standards are pretty low there.
You got to do better, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I was like, okay, let me massage these, standards a little bit, not too much, but just a tad.
Yeah.
And then started doing the swipe left, swipe right, and see what happens. So I just say, anyone who's kind of feeling like discouraged by the current state of things, or you're getting a lot of negative information from people, you kind of have to take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Be as safe as possible, be as responsible as possible. Sometimes you're going to have to take risks and put yourself out there, but you don't have to listen to people like my mom and her statistics and anecdotes. God knows the plan that He has for you.
Say that. So we've actually come up at the end of our time, and we extended a little bit because of our little mishap in the middle here. If you're joining us or just joined on, we are with Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, hanging out, talking about careers, pivoting, life, traveling, and faith. As we close out today, I wanted to ask you guys just a couple more questions. And number one, in this time of COVID, where people are kind of in a crisis mode, everyone wants to get back out. They're sick of being indoors. They're struggling with the disparity between those who are really dealing with this COVID and those who think it's not really happening. There's a lot of upheaval and uncertainty in the air around us. Could you share some words, both of you, to those who might possibly be watching along about maybe empathy and staying safe and caring for others and yourself?
Yeah. I one of the things that I started to think at the very beginning of this was that I hope we all come out of this experience more empathetic, more compassionate, and more committed to the human part of our experience. At the beginning, I had trouble adjusting to the new normal, being inside of a room all day, not being able to leave and socialize in the same ways. And I found that something that helped me to get through that transition was connecting with people. So sometimes on Zoom, not dates, sometimes on Zoom with family and friends, phone calls and texts, just making sure that people know that they're not alone. And at the time, I was the person that needed to know that I wasn't alone. And I've had family members, colleagues, people reach out and say, oh, I'm doing a wellness check. How are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything? They'll text, they'll call, they'll email, which leads me to believe that I have a very good network, a very good community. But it also reminds me that I need to be doing, to the extent that I can, the same kinds of things where I'm checking in on people that I care about, people that I think might not have the same kind of support networks, and just say like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Do you need somebody to talk to? You need to talk about something. And then, just making sure that we understand the gravity of the situation, understand that there are precautions we need to take, but also remembering that it's not going to last forever. And so, hunkering down while we need to, and then knowing that at some point we'll be able to start to move back towards normal.
Awesome. Thanks, Eva. What about you, Derek?
Yeah, and taking these precautions, I think, is answering the call to the gospel, the call to compassion, the call to helping others. So if you want to engage in an act of community service, an act of love, my suggestion is for you to take these precautions to stay home. And I say this because I receive various phone calls from friends and who have lost loved ones due to COVID-19. And, I have my New York hat on because I'm thinking not only of my people here and, of course, around the world, but I have friends and family members. I have my mom in New York City who's, I'm not going to say her age, but I'm concerned, for her health and for her safety. So if we follow these precautions, if we stay home, if we wear a mask to go outside, to only to get essentials, then you will be protecting individuals like my mom. And also, people from a certain social economic status that are suffering even more when things like this happen. So I want you to also consider this as an act of grace, an act of love that we're doing. And the other side, and I understand if you're feeling anxiety because, you know, as someone who likes to be in community, this has been, you know, weird and awkward for me as well. But there are individuals who are, you know, maybe suffering more. Maybe this might be a good time for you to reach out, for you to find that spiritual a mentor, maybe to look the therapeutic route and just kind of reach out to your friends and people that love you to see, you know, what they can do to not only cheer you up but help sustain you until the stay at home order is said and done.
Amen. Thank you both. Finally, last question. Both of you come from maybe similar kinds of backgrounds, but I think that I'm not sure completely about Eva, but Derek and I both come from a very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And so to have come as far as you have come in life, to be able to get the degrees that you have now, to both hold positions that are pretty nice. They're good, strong positions in the communities that you're in. It means that you've had to come a long way to be where you are. So if you could just speak to that young person who might be at the beginning of that journey, or who might be questioning whether or not it's worth taking that journey. We've got a bunch of seniors that'll be graduating here in the next month and may not even have a graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
So there's the sense of like loss about what am I going to do with myself? Will the colleges and universities be open? Is it even worth my time to do this? So if you would, could you speak to them and fire them up a little bit here as we close out? I want to ask Derek first, and then Eva Michelle Wheeler, and then we're out of here for Tuesday Tea Time.
Okay. That question, of course, makes me think about my own story, my own humanity. And my hope is that every accomplishment that I do or complete, that it motivates someone to do something, you know, even greater. When I think about my family members, when I think about friends who lived in the similar context that I've lived in, I hope that, you know, individuals like us give them hope, not make them feel bad or feel discouraged. So if you do feel discouraged, if you do feel like, I'm not good enough to, you know, to get an education, or I feel stupid, and all these negative things that sometimes enter into our minds when we live in rejected communities, I want to let you know that it's a lie from the enemy. It's a lie from evil structures, and it seeks out to not only destroy you but destroy the people that you are connected to. So I want to also remind everyone that when you're in school, you're learning. I often hear people say, "Oh man, school is for smart people." I learned very quickly that the university or the academic environment is an environment for you to learn. So when you come in with that attitude, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if you find maybe a mentor, because I'm not at the point where I'm at right now because I made it here, you know, on my own. I allowed myself to be vulnerable with certain individuals that had their best, you know, interest for me. And I recommend that you find that you research and really understand what an education is about, and that you realize that it's not just about a piece of paper. In the beginning, it was like that for me. But then at some point in time, I said, wow, what I'm learning here is actually breaking chains that are happening in my life. It's motivating me to learn more so that I can do the things that I love, and that is to work, you know, within broken communities. So again, reframing what an education, not even reframing, understanding what it's really for can change the game for you completely. And yes, there will be moments where you're sitting in class and you're saying to yourself, man, I'm not good enough. This is not working for me. Maybe I should quit. And when you feel those moments, you should go back to the purpose of an education and the legacy that you want to leave behind, not only for yourself, but for the sake of others.
Solid. Thank you, D. Eva.
I think I would echo a lot of what Derek said. When, people ask like, oh, and, you did law school, or, you did a PhD. I like to say that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And so I'm only been able to go as high as I have because a lot of people came and paved the way. Right. And so I think about my parents who prioritized education. And so that made it easy for me from a young age to do so. But also reminding people that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because a lot of people, you might not have the smoothest start, right? Like there's always a learning curve. There's always a transition. But what determines whether or not you're going to be successful is how you actually finish that race, not necessarily just how you start it. So anyone who's kind of doubting and thinking, well, at the beginning, maybe I didn't know exactly what I wanted to study. Or sometimes, maybe there was a class that I didn't do that well in, and thinking, okay, at this point, I'm just going to have to stop. It's our responsibility. And when I say our, I'm talking more about educators, but also people who are serving as mentors. I think it's our responsibility to speak life and not death into those students and their dreams, and give them a picture of what a path to their goal could look like. I also think that sometimes we get tunnel vision about what success means and what our life plan should be. And so especially students who are younger, who are, about to graduate high school and transition into college, or who are in high school currently, I would say this is the perfect time to explore all of the options that are out there, right? Like I did my exploration in a long and expensive way, but if you can do that earlier and find out like, what is it that I really enjoy that I can make a living doing, right? What is it that I'm passionate about? Where do I feel like I can make a difference? And experience is often the best teacher. And if you can get that experience early through internships, through apprenticeships, it might make it easier for you to decide what you enjoy and what you want to dedicate your life to. And then also, especially because we're people of faith, presenting that to God and telling him, where you're needing direction, right? Where you're needing guidance, and listening for his voice. And even when it scares you, trust that he's going to take you down the right path.
Right. Don't give up. Don't believe the lie. If God's giving you a passion, go for it. And on the way, you're going to make some mistakes. Maybe your freshman year, you had a 0.7 GPA. I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying, maybe.
No names.
No names.
It'd be like that.
Right. There's so much life to journey down. And when you give up, that's when your journey ends. So what I really appreciated about your story today, Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, is how you have been able to pivot from one successful career, take this huge leap of faith into no money, living with random roommates, riding a bicycle to school, and getting through this program only to be able to find yourself in the place that makes you more happy and more fulfilled. And I just want to speak that into somebody's life today, man. If you've been like, I don't know if I can, I just got to keep it together. Look, if you got a passion, don't give up, don't back down. You can do it. And when you do these things, especially if you come from humble beginnings, when you do this, you literally change the DNA of your lineage from that point forward. When you do this, it creates a new catapult for the next generation after you to do something even better. So be dream big, live it up like Eva Michelle Wheeler, Dr. PhD, JD, WXYZ, MBA, NBA, and our resident professor, Brother Dr. Derek the Cruz. This has been our Tuesday Word. Once again, I apologize for the dropout in the middle. It was good to catch back up. I know we lost a few of you, but if you catch this on the recording, it's well worth checking out Eva Michelle Wheeler, what she's doing out in the Alabama area and all of her travels. And if you get a chance, check into our guy, Derek Cruz, who's always doing fantastic, creative things for justice and goodness and to help humanity. So bless you guys on this awesome Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to sit with the senior treasurer, the head honcho for the money of the Southern California Conference, Orville Ortiz. We're going to be hanging out. The Boricua. He's Boricua.
Yeah.
Anything we can say in Puerto Rican here? Anybody? Is there something you can say that was like, this is Puerto Rican love?
Wepa.
Wepa. We're going to be sitting with Orville, I call him O, and we're going to chop it up about finances, about life, and about faith, and it's going to be a good time. Eva Michelle Wheeler, thank you, my girl. All love to you in your journey. And Big D, we'll be talking soon, my friends. God bless the rest of you guys. May the Lord bless you in your exchange here between life and faith. Peace out. Happy Tuesday.